Hello, and welcome to the Math Connection. My name is Miss Lenz, and we are on video number 2 of All Things Quadratic. In the first video, I gave you a quadratic function that was in standard form, and you had to find all the things. We had to find x-intercepts, y-intercepts, vertex, we had to graph it, axis of symmetry, maximum, minimum, all the things about it when I give it to you in standard form. If you want to see that video, you can go ahead and check it out. It's right up here. This one is going to be very similar, except for I'm going to give it to you in factored form instead, and we're going to have to do the same thing. So again, this video will be all based around one function, and we're going to find all the things about that function. So here's going to be our function. F of x equals the quantity x minus 5 times the quantity x minus 1. Here's our function. And now this one right off the bat, we can see looks different than the one that I gave you in the last video. There are parentheses in this one. So this is for sure not in standard form, right? This one is what we call factored form. It's written as factors because there's several parentheses. This is what I'm multiplying together. This is factored form. So we can start with factored form if we want to. Let's say some things that we know about this function because it's in factored form. Factored form helps us to find the x-intercepts. So let's start by finding those. So if I want to find the x-intercepts using factored form, what I'm thinking is for each of these factors, what could I plug in for x so that this factor is equal to 0? So that first one, for example, what minus 5 is equal to 0? What minus 5 equals 0? Well, 5 minus 5 equals 0. So I know that x equals 5. Or you could have added 5 to both sides to get x by itself. This is one of the x-intercepts. Let's do the same thing and find the other x-intercepts, and then we'll put this on a coordinate plane. So this is this other parentheses, when is x minus 1 equal to 0? Or what minus 1 gives me 0? 1 minus 1 gives me 0. So x equals 1 is my other x-intercept. So now I have found both of my x-intercepts, and that means where does this curve cross the x-axis? It crosses it twice, and one of them is when x is 1, and one of them is when x is 5. Let's put that on a coordinate plane. I'm going to grab a coordinate plane here, because one of our goals is to graph it, and we will just use this same coordinate plane to graph it this whole way through. So let's put those 2 points on our coordinate plane. We know that this curve crosses the x-axis at +1 and +5. So I am going to put 2 points, 1 point on each of those. There's where x equals 1. Here's where x equals 5. I know that it has to go through those 2 points. Here's another thing that I know. I know that this is going to be a parabola. That's what quadratic functions give me when I graph them. And so it makes sense that it would have to go through these 2 points. It could go like this, however, or it could go like this. And we have to figure out which is which. It could also like go much further down. It could go much further up. We don't know. So we have to figure that out. Now, factored form is not going to help us figure that out. The only thing that factored form is going to tell us is these 2 x-intercepts. So we're done with factored form. The next thing let's take a look at, let's change this factored form. We have to eventually get it into both of the other forms, and we can't go directly from factored form to vertex form. I like to say we have to like pass through standard form on our way. So we have to go from factored form, we have to go into standard form in order to get it to that final vertex form. So we kind of pass through it. So let's get this into standard form. And the way that we get it into standard form is just by multiplying these 2 parentheses together, or distributing, or foiling, however you think of that. That is how we are going to get those 2 parentheses, get rid of those 2 parentheses essentially. So let's FOIL that out, or let's distribute. So I'm going to go f of x, and I'm just going to copy down what we originally have, and we want to multiply x, everything in the second parentheses, by x. So that's going to give me x squared minus 1x, which I'm just going to leave as minus x. And then we have to also distribute the -5. So -5x plus 5. Now I'm going to combine my like terms in the middle, and I'm going to bring my f of x down. F of x equals x squared minus 6x plus 5. Now, this is telling me my standard form. This is standard form. There's no parentheses in here at all. And standard form helps me find one thing as well. Standard form helps me find my y-intercept. So let's find our y-intercept. This number at the end, the plus 5, is going to give me my y-intercept. Basically, the y-intercept is plugging a 0 in for x and seeing what you get for y. So when we went through this in a different video, we said, well, essentially this goes away and this goes away. And then I'm just going to have that plus 5 left when I plug in a 0 for x. So the 0.05 is going to be my y-intercept. I'm going to put that on my graph as well. And I like to think, does this make sense? So if it doesn't make sense, we might have done something wrong. So let's put it on our graph and think, does this make sense? Here it is, positive 5. Does this make sense? Yeah, it could. Up until this point, it could come down through here still and go through that point and come back up. Could make sense. We just have to keep checking this along the way. So there's my y-intercept, and that's the only thing that standard form will help us to find, besides the fact that it helps us get into vertex form, which is the best form. It tells us a ton of things. So that's what we want to do next. We want to get our standard form into vertex form. And the method that we use for that is called completing the square. So I'm just going to copy down my standard form. We have x squared minus 6x plus 5, and we want to complete the square. So remember to do that, we're going to group these two first terms together, and we're going to leave a little space for me to add my magic number in that space. So we're going to have f of x equals x squared minus 6x parentheses, but leave a space, and then that plus 5 stays outside of the parentheses. Now is my magic number time. My magic number is going to be half of that middle term squared. Half of 6 is 3, and 3 squared is 9. 9 is my magic number. So I need to add that magic number right here, plus 9. However, remember, I just unbalanced my equation and I need to balance it back out. I added 9 inside of those parentheses. To balance that, I'm going to subtract 9 outside of the parentheses. Plus 9 minus 9. If I put those two together, it gives me a 0. This is like adding 0 or adding nothing. So that's how I can keep this equation balanced. So now that I have that, now I'm ready to write this in vertex form. F of x equals, now something squared, if I FOIL it out, gives me what's in this parentheses right here. And remember to get that, x is going to go first. Half of that middle term, or half of negative 6, is negative 3 or minus 3. So that's what's going to go in my parentheses. X minus 3, the quantity squared. And then I'm going to combine those last two like terms at the end, minus 4. Here's my vertex form. And vertex form, remember, my favorite form, it tells us a ton of different things about this equation, or about this graph, about this function. First of all, let's find the vertex. Let's finish our graph. The vertex is going to be, this right here tells me it's going to be to the right 4, and to the right 3, I mean. And then this over here is going to tell me down 4. Right 3 and down 4. I'll write that as a point. The point 3, negative 4. To the right 3 and down 4. Let's get that on the coordinate plane. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do this one in blue so we know it's the vertex. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Now, just by putting that point on my coordinate plane, this is making a lot of sense, because now I know that that's the vertex. That means that, another thing I know is that this is going to be a parabola. It's going to be either a valley or a hill. And when I get it in vertex form, this sign right here tells me what that's going to be. Is this going to be a hill or is this going to be a valley? Since there's no sign there, that means it's positive, and that tells me this is going to be a valley. This is a valley, and now I just put my vertex on there, so it makes complete sense. All of these points that I have on here make complete sense with that. This graph, this curve is going to go down. It's going to change directions at the vertex. It's going to go right back up. There is my parabola. And again, I could have gotten another point just using symmetry. So let's draw in that line of symmetry. I'm just going to draw it right through the vertex. It's going to be a vertical line. And if I folded it on that line, or if it was a piece of paper and I folded it right on that line, all the points would match up. So that means that there has to be another point right here. I'm kind of a little off with my curve, but it would go through that point right there. So now all those points would match up perfectly. I could have found another point that way. So we have a graph. We have found everything about it. There's one thing we haven't found, and that's the maximum value or the minimum value. So again, first we have to decide, is this going to have a maximum value or is this going to have a minimum value? Is this a hill or is this a valley? A hill is going to have a lowest point. It's going to have a minimum, a smallest. A hill is going to have a maximum value. No, a hill is going to have a maximum value. It's going to have a highest point or a highest number. So since this is a valley, this is going to have a minimum. It has a lowest. So the minimum value of this is going to be given to us by this number that's right at the end right here. The minimum value of this function, the lowest number that will possibly come out of this machine, no matter what I drop into it, the lowest possible number that I'm going to get is a -4. I will never get anything under -4. I will never get a -5, never get a -6, nothing that's lower than a -4. Another way of doing that is looking at my vertex. Here's my vertex, which is at the point 3, -4. And the y value of my vertex is going to tell me my minimum value. That I'm dropping in a 3, but a -4 is coming out. And that -4 is going to tell me the lowest value that will come out of this machine. So the minimum value of this is a -4. So we found all the things. This time I gave it to you in factored form. So in the first video, I gave it to you in standard. This one, I gave it to you in factored. If you want to check out this last video, that's right here. That one I give it to you in vertex form, and we do the same thing. We have to find all the things. Please hit that subscribe button, and I hope to see you all soon.